Okay, this is actually a slightly different model, but let's suppose we didn't want to manually copy these things. Let's suppose that we wanted to, instead of manually copying them, we wanted them to be exported directly. Okay, first of all, I'm going to show how to define a data set for this, and then I'm going to show how we would write code to export it to a file. Okay. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is go to Analysis on the palette and pull in a data set. Okay. So there's a data set there. You can use a vanilla data set. And for the vertical axis value, it's actually asking about two things. And we should name this. This can be data set, let's call it data set susceptible. Okay? You'll notice that there's this checkbox here. And a data set has two components. So it's recording pairs of numbers here. And the first pair is going to be the time. First item in the pair. First element of each pair is going to be time. The second element of each pair is going to be based on something we tell it, where to get the value from. So it's saying, okay, tell me what to use for the vertical axis value. So we have to give it an expression. We have to give it a quantity to use, okay? So for the vertical axis value here, we want to use, let's suppose we want to count the number of people that are susceptible in the population. How would we do that? What expression would I put in there? Who can speak up? We did it before. We did it for the state chart. It's the same expression we used here. What's the expression? Okay, but what? Close, but no cigar. The item, so I'm glad you're thinking in your show, you know, this is not a memoryless process. I'm glad to see that. Item was used here in this context of computing the statistic. But here, I'm not computing the statistic, ladies and gentlemen. Here, I want to use the statistic. I want to call the statistic. I want to say, give me the count susceptible. So what do? People dot count susceptible. Count susceptible is a capability of people that we've added to it, right? So how do I know that? Well, remember, folks, look at this. People.count susceptible. This is a capability. This is a method that is now available from people because that's the object. That's the entity in the model with which we associated the statistic, right? So we have to ask people, hey, I mean, who else to ask but people? We ask, hey, people, give us the count of susceptible, because that's it's with people that we associated the count statistic. So we have to insert exactly this line for this vertical axis value, okay? So basically it's, hey, people, compute your count of susceptible. So takes that reference and it tells it, hey, give me your count susceptible, and it gives it back a value, and that's used for the value there, okay? So that's the data set value, okay? Now, what I'd like to do here is, let's suppose we do that, okay? So we have this data set susceptible, okay? I'm departing a little bit from script, but that's okay. It spices up my life. And then we want to run this experiment. So we have data set susceptible, and it's using as its vertical axis value this thing. Okay, so we're going to be running this. I'm going to speed this up. And then here's data set susceptible. And you'll notice it says 0 samples. There ain't nothing there. There ain't nothing there. Incidentally, that means there is nothing there. So there's no statistics. Why is that? Yeah, exactly. So don't think you're quite out of the woods when you add that statistic. If you go back to the data set susceptible, the default is different. For a time plot, the default is actually to update it automatically. Here, it's not to update automatically as the default. We just have to do update automatically. Okay? And that's what was given, as I say, as the default here. It had it updating automatically. Just be aware with this other one, you have to say, okay, update it automatically every how many time units? Okay, so let's run this thing. Okay, boom. Okay, come on. Okay, now if I click here, now I can see all of that. And hey, well, okay, by now there's no susceptibles left. They're all gone. You'll notice again, it starts at 100. So just like before, same basic concept. We want to keep up to a certain number of samples. Let's make it 200 samples because it's a running time of 200. Let's run this again, and we'll run it out. Dataset susceptible. Okay, come on. Boom. There we go. Okay. Once again, we can export these things. We can, okay, come on. We can either right-click on this guy and do copy, or we can, let's close this. Okay, yeah, it doesn't allow this now, but right-click and copy. You can export. But our goal, our avowed goal, you'll recall, was to export this automatically. So we're going to see how to do that. After all, it wouldn't buy us a lot if we were just computing it. Okay, so yeah, we selected it. Okay, so we have these properties, and we can have a chart. I'll just teach this, and I want to get to the code. But here's a chart, and if we want to show the number of susceptible from here, we did it before by directly calling it. We could have said dataset and done count susceptible or dataset susceptible. That would be another option. Dataset susceptible. An alternative, I'm going to actually keep this people dot. So I'm going to come on. I'm going to go back and put it back to what it was, and I'm going to actually add. Okay, it doesn't want to. Fine. Count susceptible, and then I'm going to add another one here. Add data item. Boom. And I'm going to do data set, and I'm going to do infectious DS. That's the built-in one up here. And that's actually computing it as well. Okay, so now I want to run this, and it will show all, hey, okay, cannot do something or other. Okay, ooh, look at that. Oh, okay, so, oh, I left it as a data set. This should be a value. Sorry, folks. Okay, so now we have three things here. Two are direct calls to statistics. Another is a data set. And incidentally, that data set only records the most recent n values, and so it isn't even shown fully. If we want to show it, we'd have to go up here and keep the latest 200 samples. And, oh, it says update automatically. Let's make it an update automatically at recurrence time of 1, and we should be able to view these now all there. Okay, so there's an example of sort of a graph. Two of these are from statistics directly. One of them is from a data set. But how do we export the data sets directly? Well, this is something I think I'll skip to right now, and we'll come back and point to it. Okay, so data output